So my issue with the Youtubians, Dane Colloway and everybody else, what are y'all building? I don't give a damn about what you're talking about. I don't give a damn about your videos. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you call yourself. What institution are you building to make our reality better than what it is? And I don't see nobody else in the conscious community building nothing to date. Everybody's running their mouth on YouTube, no institutions.
That was heavy. So we said Khalid Muhammad name. We said Amos, Dr. Amos.
Dr. Amos, I think, was the greatest black scholar of the second half of the 20th century. Greatest black psychologist, period. But most relevant black scholar of the second half of the 20th century, because he didn't just content himself with the information. We have a lot of people who just content themselves with the information. But Dr. Amos was about building the institutions. Unfortunately, he was taken away from us prematurely, quite possibly murdered. And I have that on the authority of ancestor Dr. Jack Felder, who's a close friend of Dr. Amos. And he shared a story with me when I was in New York, where he had just come from visiting Dr. Amos Wilson in the hospital. And he got the call that he was dead or near dying. And he said, how could that be? I just visited him. And I think that Dr. Amos was about to do works that would have completed some of the visionary things that Malcolm and Garvey and others were thinking of.
And I was wondering, saying, what about one of my heroes, Noble Drew Ali? What's your thoughts on him?
I respect Noble Drew Ali. I'm not a Moor. I'm a Pan-Africanist, so that's not my line of thought at all. I'm all about Africa and African people. I'm red, black, and green all day. But I appreciate his contribution. I definitely think that the works that he offered to our people helped to create an atmosphere where brothers and sisters want to divorce themselves from the mainstream European narrative and come up with their own. So even if you don't agree with someone philosophically, you can appreciate the impact that their work has, and I think that when I look at the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and that avenue that he created, that alternative to the narrative, I think that was very powerful for him to do it at the time that he did it.
Oh, beautiful. I seen the Dane Colloway thing, and I'm just like, y'all not seeing eye to eye, but...
Well, here's my thing. It's not so much about what we want to call ourselves. I'm African. I'm not interested in being called nothing else. But I respect everybody's right to call themselves whatever they want. There's no one name for African people. Just like there's no one name, for the creator. Some people want to call God Allah, Elohim, Nyame, Amun-Ra, Chukwu, Olodumare, Allah. God is all that and some. You can't reduce supreme consciousness to a single title. So why we fight over it? Let people call God what they want to call God. We could all be brothers with the same mother. We might not all call mom the same name. We're going to use a name that endears us to our mother based on our own relationship with our mother. Trying to dictate how people relate to supreme consciousness is ridiculous. And I think the same thing holds for what we should call ourselves as the original people. Africa, African people, original people, we were never known by just one name. You understand? You had Alkebulan, you had Africa, you had Ethiopia, Tamari, you had all kinds of names for Africa. You had multiple kingdoms, and every kingdom had their own name for the continent. So for me, it's not about what we call ourselves. We are all that and some. You can't reduce us to one name. For people who argue, that they're not from Africa, so be it. I understand where that comes from psychologically speaking, when you filled with self-hate and when you think you belong to a people who never created nothing and ain't going to create nothing. It's natural for people to want to hide their true identity, want to identify with something that they think earns them more respect. But at the end of the day, whether you deal with it genetically, biologically, scientifically, anthropologically, historically, there is no denying that Africa is the birthplace of all human civilization. Wherever you are in this world, you got there from Africa. I don't care who you are and where you are. And so when I hear brothers and sisters say we were already in America, I agree with that. But where did you come from? How did you get to America? Well, we was already here. I don't come from Africa. Well, let's do a blood test. We got genetic DNA analysis right now. We don't have to argue about whether you're from Africa or not. We can pull that blood out you and find out where you come from right now. So I don't even debate that stuff. What we need to be talking about is how do we get from where we are to where we need to be? Because whether you Moor, whether you're Nawapian, whether you God and Earth, Nation of Islam, Pan-African, Black socialist, integrationist, whatever you into, we need food, we need clothing, we need shelter, we need education, we need community defense. So my issue with the Youtubians, Dane Colloway and everybody else, what are y'all building? I don't give a damn about what you're talking about. I don't give a damn about your videos. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you call yourself. What institution are you building to make our reality better than what it is? And I don't see nobody else in the conscious community building nothing to date. Everybody's running their mouth on YouTube, no institutions. Peace and Pan-Africanism. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, King Kong Consciousness, Dr. Umar Ifatunde. I'm live and direct at ACAF, African Cultural Arts Forum. I've been coming here since I was 20 years old, a baby Garvey. I don't cease to be more. Y'all better pull up to ACAF right here. My elders been holding this down forever. We got everything you need. We got the incense. We got the shea butter. We got the sea moss. We got the herbs. We got African jewelry. We got African artwork. You will see some of this artwork inside of the FDMG Academy, but make sure you pull up.